know when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, how to be in that number when the Spurs go marching in.
Beautiful. We are Tottenham TV here. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce to the channel singer-songwriter all the way from Nashville, Kenny Foster. How are you doing, Kenny?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Absolute pleasure to have you on the channel.
Oh, dude, thanks, man. It's good to be here.
Now, some Spurs fans might recognise Kenny from on our pre-season tour. He did a secret surprise set for a lot of the Spurs players. Did sang all their songs at the end of the meal.
Yeah.
How did that gig come about? Did they contact you?
Well, it's insane. Well, yeah, so my information got sent through to try to do the anthem, because we sing the national anthem before every sporting event in the States. And so I felt like I was a good candidate. I was probably about the only country music singer that not only knew about the Premier League, but had a team, you know, and followed as insanely as we sort of do, my wife and I.
Amazing.
Yeah, getting up at 6 a.m. and all that. So they had the information anyway, and so the national anthem actually didn't pan out. And so the team then approached me about a week before they came down and said, look, we couldn't work that out, but what do you think about playing the team dinner? And I went, check my diary. You know, I was trying to figure out if we could do that. And no, I was elated, and it was something really special. So of course I lost sleep, as anyone would, and had a bunch of sleepless nights leading up to it, but it turned out being just phenomenal, man. Golly. Did
you get to meet all the players after? Was that something special for you?
Yeah. I mean, they all came up and shook hands and made sure and said thank you. And besides, you know, their Instagram stories and all that, you know, it just really was, it was something special, because I know that we watch them. Obviously everyone loves them, and we watch them every week, and you don't always get access. You don't always know if what you assume about them is true. But at least in my limited experience, I can tell you this team and this manager and this club is exactly who we think they are, and that's a really special thing.
So how long have you been following Spurs? What made you fall in love with Spurs?
It's a fair question. So NBC Sports bought the rights to all of the games. I played footy growing up, and so
you called it footy and not soccer.
Yeah, there you go. It was for you guys. That wasn't for me. That was for you. Yeah. So all the way through university, actually, and there was no way I was going pro. I think I just knew that. So I went music, obviously, instead of footy, and I had to find a new outlet for my passion, and so I went music, but I also, not playing as much, needed to watch a lot more. And so it was time to allow a team to choose me, because you don't choose your team chooses you. Your club wants to find you, and I really did felt found. I know that there are some very long-suffering fans of Spurs, and I understand that. I grew up in Joplin, Missouri. It's a small town, and we didn't have any championship teams to cheer for anywhere near us. So we ended up, you know, I think I was 3 when the last championship was won by our baseball team, the Kansas City Royals, and they didn't win again until just 2 years ago. So I don't need championships, but I do want a strong core of people that, even in long suffering, it's not as if they're going to stop. You know, you need true blue fans or true lily white fans, and there was a bit of gallows humor that sort of like went along with it, but also because it was only about 6 years ago for me, it's just felt like it's been getting better and better. And so I certainly have a heart for everyone else that has lived through the whole of it. But I know that sometimes Spurs don't get the plaudits, they don't get the respect that they deserve, and I've certainly felt that way at certain points in my life and in my career, and so I felt a bit of a kinship just with the club, and knowing that when they did the thing, when when the underdog became the champion in our lifetime, that everyone was going to say, "Oh yeah, I always rated them," you know, and that's fine because we'll know who was there from the beginning. It's a really special club. It really is.
What kind of, are there any players that you kind of, when you started watching Spurs, that you kind of fell in love with, or any particular games that you remember watching and just think, this is the team for me?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, this was back in Bale Modric days. Yeah. So, and then Dempsey came a bit later. I think Friedel was on the squad.
That's right.
So, but I mean, we've got a really hot squad right now, guys. It's really special. I don't want to call anyone dead weight, but there's some of it gone, and what we have left is a core of strong players, playmakers, exciting strikers, rock solid defense. You know, I mean, it's hard not to look at this current squad right now and think there's something special going on.
Do you have a favorite player? Would you put a finger on it?
You're gonna make me do that.
Okay, I don't have to.
Well, I mean, I was a playmaker in my day. I was sort of the CAM, so I certainly appreciate what Eriksson brings to the table, setting up the strikers. But I like a net to ripple as well, and I like what Harry's all about. So, but anyway, that's it's like picking your favorite kid. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that Spurs is apparently the most searched Premier League team in the US.
I believe it.
Yeah. Why do you think they're so popular over there?
Well, I can attribute one to a very kind of flitty way, and I'll tell you that one, and then I'll tell you why I think for real. When NBC Sports did their introduction to the States as to what they did this, it's football but not that football, was the ad campaign. And they had Jason Sudeikis was a fake coach for Tottenham Hotspur, if you remember.
Yes, I've seen this.
Of course you have. Ted Lasso. And you know, he just did such a good, and I'd like to talk to the Queen, please. And so I know that people were being drawn in just by that, because what a strange name, especially to the States, you know, Tottenham Hotspur. So I'm sure people caught it that way just by proxy to figure out what it was all about. But also, I know the club has done a very good job of coming over 5 out of the last 7 years to the States, and they've done a great job to see that the States was an underserved market, and we have the largest collection of I guess registered supporters groups. So in Nashville, when they came for the preseason, we had 64 different supporters groups from all over the U.S. and Mexico and Amsterdam, and we got to see all those crazies that came in, and there were almost 2,000 people at our Legends Night, and that's in the States.
Really?
Oh, it was magnificent. You really need to go check it out. It's phenomenal.
Do you remember watching in back in the day? You had Brad Friedel, Clint Dempsey,
sure,
and DeAndre Edlin.
Oh yeah.
So they have a big affinity of the U.S. national team.
Interesting. Yeah. No. Well, I certainly put that together after the fact. Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting, because also in a position where there aren't a lot of American players being signed over here, it does seem that Spurs is doing a bit of that. Well, in CCV, Cameron Carter-Vickers as well. Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's out on loan now.
In League One.
Yeah, but I mean, he'll get some time, and we'll be happy to have him back, I'm sure.
You mentioned that in the US they have a different songs for Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Do you mind giving us a rendition?
Oh yeah, of course, man. No, well, I mean, not everybody has these, but in Nashville, you know, we're songwriters. It's what we do. And so after he scores and we've sang He's One of Our Own, we also have Here I Am, rock you like a hurricane, and we sing the guitar parts too. It's really lame, but I love it.
Yeah. We have to start that.
Dude, you must. It's so fun too, because then you get to, you know, fist pump a little bit. And then the Dele Alli is just Dele Alli, oh, he's only 21 at this moment. It means everything. Look at those megs, ran them right through their legs. Oh, that's dirty. Come on, Ali. Did it.
See, we're struggling for some songs for Hugo Lloris and Toby. Do you reckon you could help us out?
Oh, actually, yeah, we have them. Well, we always go, whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the Lloris. Whoop, whoop. Another save from the beast. I think that's a really good one.
I like that.
And then Toby, we go, Toby, I love you. How do you say your last name? Toby. I love you. How do you say your last name? Alderweireld, 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 Alderweireld.
This is amazing.
Yeah, hey, you know.
How do we not have these?
We'll pick them up. Let's do this thing, guys. Yeah.
Amazing. I have to get you down here more often.
Oh, come on.
You ever get to any games? Ever been to Spurs?
Yeah, we got to go to the Lane. Yeah, just 2 years ago. We were there for the Leicester match, and then a Sunderland match 4-1 against Defoe. That was fun. Sat in the South End, and it was really fun. I was really glad to have had that opportunity before, obviously, the next. And then when Burnley was in town, went to Wembley. Yeah, cool. Well, you know,
big difference, isn't it?
Well, it's a big difference. And,
yeah,
but
as a fan coming from the US, how would you say the difference is comparing White Hart Lane to Wembley?
Well, I mean, White Hart Lane was much more compact. I mean, we were on top of one another, which is why I'm so excited they've kept that in contact of building the new stadium. I'm so excited to keep that atmosphere going. You know, Wembley's a bit more spread out, and it was built for different purposes altogether. You know, national football. But I went to the old Wembley, toured it when I was 18 when I came over here with my dad. And so to go to the new Wembley, but to see Spurs on it was really special for me. So I know people are talking about the curse and all this stuff. I was like, give it time, guys. Do you remember how hard we were clicking last year? Like, it was gangbusters, and I can't wait for everybody to get settled, you know, mentally and otherwise. You know, it's gonna be a really fun season.
Do you watch every game over in the US?
Yeah.
So how would you rate Spurs' chances this season from all the signings we've made? Do you think we've had a good window?
Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting is I think all we did was support and maybe put a little bit of pressure on our first team. I mean, that's a difficult thing when you have such a strong first team. You've got 2 players valued on the world market for over 150 mil, and you kept them. Like, everyone who's coming in to challenge knows that they're coming in to challenge, not to get automatic playing time, which they feel they deserve, and you can't blame them. So it's been a difficult window, and I also know that Poch doesn't want to break up the camaraderie in the room, and having seen it firsthand, I wouldn't want to do that either. It's something very, very special. I rate Spurs' chances as very high. We just got to get the monkey off our back, and it's not August anymore, so Harry will get clicking. I mean, we saw him with England. I mean, he's got his stuff, and so I have very high hopes for this season, and I also know that moving into our new stadium next year is going to be something special. So these next 2 years are just, I mean, keep your eyes peeled, you know what I mean?
You're going to come down when we have a new stadium? You're going to come down?
Oh, are you kidding me? No. Like, God, I'll try to weasel my way into a season ticket, you know, and just start coming over every weekend.
We signed 2 players on the deadline day, Llorente and Serge Aurier. You have to let us know when you come up with songs for them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, give me some time, because here's the deal. Because it usually happens sort of as their personality gets played out on the field. You know, you can't just jump into it because they signed with the club. You know, so we even have the song, which is, you know, he wants his own song, he wants his own song, and then we put the player's name who just did something great. He wants his own song, and so they get a few matches of that, and when they've proven, we're like, okay, it's time to get this guy a song. So it's been really fun. Amazing. Oh yeah.
All right, so your album is called Deep Cuts.
It is, yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sure.
How long ago did you release it?
Well, I released it in April of this year, and but just released the single over here in the UK 3 weeks ago. So it's a record that's very near and dear to my heart, and it's got a lot of songs. The reason it's called Deep Cuts, the songs that I loved from artists were always tracks 12, 13, 14. You know, once they got the business out of the way, they got to sort of do their art or tell their story. And so I decided that I would try to do the business while telling my story, if that makes sense. And so it was it's 12 songs straight from the gut. I had 450 songs to choose from in this, because I write every day. Yeah, so tracking it down to 12 mean they had to be pretty spot on. So, but I think I'm really proud of what we put together in Nashville with a Grammy Award-winning producer, and we just very grateful that people have been picking up on it as well as they have. It's been really special.
Right, well, Kenny, absolute pleasure to have you on the channel.
Oh man, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. If you want to check out his new album, Deep Cuts, the link will be in the description below. If you like country music, check it out. And
even if you don't.
Even if you don't, yeah, check it out. So there we go. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks a lot, man.